Welcome everyone to today's Inside Look, titled How Angel City Football Club Builds Brand Hype with Epic Visuals. We're joined here today with their team photographer, Will Navarro. I'm going to let Will do his own little formal introduction and tell us about himself and his career in just a moment. But we're very excited for today's talk and presentation. If you don't know about Angel City Football Club, Will's definitely going to dive into a bit more about the brand and who they are, but this team is it LA's only women's soccer team at the moment?
Yes.
Yeah.
We do have one down south in San Diego, in the San Diego Wave. But here in the heart of Los Angeles, we have Angel City.
Awesome. And it's owned by some amazing celebrities and athletes like Natalie Portman, Eva Longoria, Mia Hamm, Serena Williams, Billie Jean King. Right? It has some badass women that are, yeah, right?
To name a few, yeah, we have such an all-star lineup of amazing investors, founders. It's an amazing organization.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we're excited to hear about it today. I'm gonna give you the presentation mode so you can bring up your slides, and then we'll jump into it.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. So we just make that slideshow and we'll get going. Awesome. Excited to hear from you, Will. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for the intro there. All right. Hi, everybody. As Jeremy mentioned, my name is Will Navarro. I am the current team photographer for Angel City FC here in Los Angeles. I just want to tell you a little bit about myself leading up to how I joined Angel City. Or in 2017, I got lucky and was able to join an amazing organization as the Los Angeles Rams, coming from a background of shooting majority of content here in LA of weddings, portraits, headshots, all the what's and nots of what a photographer can do. I'm a graduate from Brooks Institute here in California. I'm also a U.S. Navy veteran right out of high school. I joined the military. I joined the Rams again in 2017 in year one. The second year they were back here in LA at the Coliseum. It was such an amazing opportunity to join the NFL and join the Rams and just to learn the aspect of sports photography while combining all my experience from the studio, events, community, corporate, and whatnot. So it was an amazing time to join football at that time. It was LA football. I come back to LA. I was on the fields, just getting all the content as much as I experienced, and what can I say? It was a very fun time for myself. 2017, I got a little spoiled. Our second year in, we got into the wild card. It was fun. We made it to versus Dallas, and I'm sorry, we lost against Atlanta that year, so we didn't make it all the way through all far in the playoffs. But our second year, that kind of changed a little bit. With the help of Aaron Donald there, we made it all the way to Super Bowl 53. So my second year with the team, we made it to the NFL, which is very exciting for me. A whole week out in Atlanta, spending with the team, covering all the events that need to be covered, community, media days, practices, even setting up for the team photo right on the field. It was such a great opportunity for myself to bring all my skills that I learned in college and take it to the studios, take it on the field. Unfortunately, we didn't come back with a victory, but I mean, you lose some, you win some, you learn from those losses, and you move on. And for coming up to year three, we're back at it with the lead of Aaron Donald and Jared Goff. I mean, we had an amazing year. I mean, it's just to continue shooting for the team was just every single year was a learning experience. I mean, you can't learn everything within one season. You're learning on every season as you go. 2019, I did a little bit of traveling so with the team. It was fun to go see different stadiums, learn different lighting, different scenarios, shooting in the rain, shooting in the middle of the sun, shooting on a cloudy day. It gave me such great challenges that I love the experiences. It was such a great moment. But I mean, 2020 came around and we were looking forward to just an amazing opening at SoFi Stadium. But unfortunately, with the pandemic and COVID come around that time, we were making sure everyone will stay safe at home. But the NFL season went on and we had an open stadium without our fans. But that gave us an opportunity to get different perspectives, different angles in the NFL field. We we were able to get different perspectives from the catwalks, from the bleachers, just there certain angles where obviously fans would be, but we took advantage and we got some remote cameras in there and some photographers, and we got different shots. Year 4 came around. Second year into SoFi, or I'm sorry, first year with SoFi. So you can see here on my left photo, we had an image of myself just a little bit higher on the bleachers where fans usually sit. On the far right image of Jalen Ramsey, I shot that from the catwalk on the way to the top of SoFi Stadium. So I mean, those are different angles, perspectives that you don't necessarily would get on a regular NFL game, which was pretty exciting. We were able to go down and get some nice wide shots of the stadium, looking at the full aspect of how big that stadium is. Beautiful. If you haven't been to SoFi, I highly recommend you come down and visit us. The season just started, so therefore there's plenty of opportunities to come down. Then we come into an amazing new year last year. It was 2020, my year 5 with the Rams in 2021. We got a new trade quarterback. You might know him by the name of Matthew Stafford. First year with the team, very high expectations. It led us to pretty cool things. It led us to Super Bowl 56. This was a major deal for her in LA. Second team in NFL history to host the Super Bowl in their home stadium. We're in Los Angeles. We're hosting the Bengals. The atmosphere was amazing. I mean, Bengals fans showed up, but our Rams fans showed up as well. And it was just great opportunity to cover my second Super Bowl with the team. We came out victorious, and what can I say? Being covered in the correct confetti this time did feel a little bit different, and it made you really appreciate that 5 years in with the team. I mean, what can I say? You had to take a minute to pause. And I think I lead that to my mentor and one of my best friends, Jeff Lewis, who's a photographer with the Rams. And we just definitely took a moment to appreciate the journey of all those years, from a loss to a win, to be able to capture all these memories for these players, for their families, for their organization, just to make it that the next 20 years, these images are going to be now within the organization in the history books. And it was a very exciting time. I mean, holding that Lombardi trophy is very it's heavy, but it's a very big honor. Throughout that time, not just within those 5 years with the Rams, I have a great opportunity to extend my background in Los Angeles. I was able to join Andy Bernstein at Staples Center, or now called Crypto.com Arena, down here in downtown Los Angeles, helping him cover all sorts of events from concerts, Bad Bunny concerts, country concerts, music awards, Grammys, Emmys. No, sorry, Grammys, the AMAs. So it was a great opportunity to cover so many variety of events here in Los Angeles. Same with covering NBA events, media days for Los Angeles Lakers. They give me different opportunities to bring my studio experience back into to the studio and get back to the NBA to help them. But just give me the opportunity to do so many things here in LA is exciting, and then to this day it's still very exciting. So as you can see here, shooting concerts, as many might here know, angles is one of the things for me to be able to just walk around, get the different perspectives for the house is just a great experience. At one point, and to one point a couple of years ago, I was able to opportunity to shoot one-on-one with Kobe, with Grandy Studios, to help him cover his book. It was just a great honor to do that. Jeff Lewis and Andy Bernstein also helped out with the projects. Um, I I will hold this project to dear heart for the rest of my life, as he is not only becoming, as he was one of my heroes, and he was just an amazing person. But at the same time, I joined a Wire with Icon Sports Wire to give me an opportunity to shoot a variety of different events as well all around LA, from shooting Dodger games to having the capability to shoot LAC games down at Bank, California. Sometimes take a little trip down to Carson and shoot the Galaxy down there and their stadium. At the same time, I took upon myself to go shoot locally here in my community colleges to help them with their content. So Cal State Northridge is also one of my heavy heart projects. I love to come down there and shoot for the players and get a lot of content for them. So it's really fun to go see all the college players, and some of them will make it pro, and that's a great opportunity to see them from the beginning on to where they are. Um, and then also these sorts of possible UCLA, USC games. I mean, those are also heavy, high-paced NCAA games, and going from the pros to college, this gives me more opportunities to practice my craft. But throughout the years, the luxury for myself to be at a freelance position, I was able to choose some variety of things from 49er games when they come into town, volleyball matches at CSUN, Pittsburgh Steelers football games. I would create my own editorial work with different athletes. We shoot boxing matches over at Staples Center or Microsoft Theater. Then I would just set up my own projects with modeling agencies, doing beauty, fashion work, and model work. So it was a great time. But come around right that season after with the Rams we won the Super Bowl, I had a great opportunity to join the inaugural year with Angel City here in 2022. Angel City launched their inaugural season over at Bank, California, and what can I say? It was home opener early in this year with 22,000 sold out crowd, and how the NWSL just expanded their league with two teams here, Angel City in LA and San Diego down south. It was a great opportunity to join the organization, help them build their team content based on my experience. And how I bring the experience is PhotoShelter was one of the key factors on how I was able to establish such an amazing program with Angel City. I learned PhotoShelter straight off from the Rams, as we use PhotoShelter to integrate our content, upload our content, store our content, and the same over at Staples Center and Crypto.com Arena. We use that PhotoShelter to organize and distribute our content there. So two forms of industries, from concerts to professional football. I was able to understand how PhotoShelter was able to adjust for me to bring that over to Angel City and integrate it into their system. So, sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. We're live. It happens, you know.
um,
Don't worry about
I
it.
mean, the key factors I found myself leading to Angel City was community, fan engagement, getting all the content we needed to fulfill all the necessary needs that any organization needs for their photo content, from marketing to action to fan engagement to partnerships, sponsors. And that was the thing where I was able to build within my team there to make sure we get covered on all different angles. In football games, basketball games, we may have one or two photographers or four photographers. Ourselves here in Angel City, I was able to build an amazing team of 4 to 5 photographers every match. So we make sure that all the content we needed for all departments was there. And I'll speak a little bit about how our workflow works in just a minute. But just to give it an aspect that the content out of a $22,000 fan arena, that's a lot of content to cover. And that's why getting and understanding a good workflow is very important. And we were able to set that up. But the beauty part is just joining the team. Just I was with the Rams. I mean, I was able to cover the practices, get to work one-on-one with the players to make sure that their needs were covered as far as photography wise. Um, Working one-on-one with the players to get the merchandise, make sure the merchandise was shot. And just the great thing about seeing your photography being used for every type of marketing perspective was a great achievement for myself, just to see that out there. It was really fun. It never felt like work, never felt like a duty to do. And to this day, it's just a great opportunity to get all this content that we need out there. Same for merchandise, e-com. Having the experience working on e-com 4 years ago, I brought that into Angel City. It's just there's so many perspectives of photography where we could bring into an organization. But this is where we bring what is Angel City. I mean, we have so many. We're surrounded by so many teams here in Los Angeles: the Lakers, Clippers, Galaxy, LAFC, Sparks, Dodgers. There's so many. Just to name a few. I mean, how is it that we integrate Angel City into Los Angeles? Well, I mean, our logo is not just a logo. It brings all the perspectives into play. I mean, just necessarily breaking the mold from the top left. The angel wing breaks free from the shield, and symbolizing how Angel City breaks the mold of a traditional sports team and will break through any barriers. Not just an angel. The wing shape is inspired by a fierce Southern California bird, the red-tailed hawk. 12 feathers, even though there's all the 12 feathers within the logo. 12 feathers on the crest signify not just the 11 players on the field playing, but includes the 12th, the fans, the supporters. They're included within the organization, as they should be. LA all the way. I mean, we support the LA teams. The design of the feathers are inspired by the palm leaves. Can't go wrong without adding palm trees into LA teams. I mean, the pink to orange gradient. It's a sunrise to sunset, which LA is known for, and the beautiful Hollywood vibe that you have here. I mean, everything's all entailed within just our logo. It tells our upcoming history. And foremost, I want a big shout out to the team of photographers that work with me there at Angel City. We have Jen, Bailey, Kelly, Hannah, Heidi, Emma. I mean, all the photographers that joined us this season to contribute their content, their ton of art, their work, their talent. Just I want to say a big thanks to them because it's not just a one person team there. It's a full team. I mean, there's no I in team. So I mean, I want to thank them. Big shout out to them as well. Appreciate them. Their handles are here. If you want to follow their work, I want to make sure they get recognized as well. But this is how we use PhotoShelter. This is how I broke down our PhotoShelter use with Angel City. Our photographers on the field, myself, I'm speaking with Jen. She's usually my number one shooter. We would have our cameras built with a Wi-Fi hotspot. We would connect to that hotspot, and we would set up an FTP address that's connected straight to PhotoShelter. I have an editor who works straight out of the press box. She'll review the content as it's coming in. She'll download the content from PhotoShelter, edit it, correct it for its color correction, exposures, compositions, and such, repurpose it and move it back into another PhotoShelter folder, an editor folder, where now everybody from our marketing team, our partnerships, our PR, and head of content have access to the content to make sure it gets viewed and distributed wherever it needs to go to. So from there, it goes to Instagram, Facebook, our website, our Twitter, because as we all know, we score a goal, marketing or the graphics team needs it within seconds, so they build their graphic and post it out on social media within less than 2 minutes. Usually this is the timeline. So that's where PhotoShelter makes it so easy for us to be able to connect wirelessly to our hotspots that we're able to just transmit it straight into the PhotoShelter account that we designate. And boom, we're ready to go. This is what it looks like for our game day folders. All the folders come in within a timeline of throughout the capture time. All my editor has the capability to choose individual images or just batch download all the images. From then on, this is how the content is distributed. So our match day content is usually put together by our graphics team for our match days announcements, our posters for before game days. We have, of course, our amazing Fan Fest pre-games outside Bank, California. We have fans with our sponsors like Chevy and Johnny Walker. It's a big festival, and it's amazing to go to get ready for the game. And the amazing time where the players arrive. Birdies sponsors our player arrivals, and we have amazing time to just capture the players coming in their civilian outfits and their nice street clothing, and it's beautiful. It's a great time to get the content, and our editor team needs it so they can post it out to the people. Game action is very important throughout the game. Our shooters transmit the content so all the marketing team have access to our shots. And of course, we can go without celebrations. I mean, whenever we score an amazing goal, we want to get out there. Simone Charlie scores a nice, great header. Our Savannah McCaskill's goal. It's just just to get great out there, and within seconds, just post it within social media. But we also want to give love to the fans. I mean, that's we wouldn't be here without our fans. So we gotta get a lot of love to our fans from all the community work that they've done with us, to the game day scenarios, to the street teams. It's just we have to get it involved, and this is where all the content goes into PhotoShelter, where we're able to pick whatever we need from a travel fan fest with a tattoo or a watermark, or to fans holding up their personal signs, to classes at community events. It's just great to be able to have. So our post-match workflow is almost similar. I mean, all the photographers go home. We have a designated file naming system, a backup system where they just go and save all their content, rename it, edit it, and they re-upload it to their own designated FTP folder that I'm able to now go in there one-on-one, review their content, and sort it within our photo galleries in our PhotoShelter. And then once I give the approval, it gets thrown over to Greenfly. which is one of our partners, where the players now have access to the content immediately. And this is where the contributor access from PhotoShelter looks like. It's easy. My photographers, all I have to do is just drop the images, upload it with the title name, and then boom. Then within a couple of minutes, I have it on my end, and I'll start reviewing. And this is what a majority of our staff at Angel City sees. I sort our games or matches based on the time of the weeks. So our graphic designer Amanda, she makes these amazing posters for each week, and I have designated that poster as the thumbnail for the game, because I mean that's how I remember all the matches, because of all those amazing posters she makes. So it's also great to see that the graphic designer gets a little love, so that staff sees that, oh, this is the game poster for the week. Great. So that's all organized there. And this is what usually the photos look like. They're all sorted, numbered, and with the file name, and everything's nicely organized. For me, I'm a little bit of an OCD, so I make sure everything's not file named correctly with initials and such. So that's making sure that everything's good on my end. And overall, just the same with the community. Our hierarchy currently right now is based on community outreach, game content, media days, merchandise, sponsor shoots, and training. Next year it might change, and that's the beauty about it. I could keep it this way for 2022 and 2023. I could have a different system, and I get it ready before even the season starts, and that's what I love about it. So, but yeah, it's a pretty quick breakdown of how Angel City I brought Angel City's workflow together. So I want to keep it open a little bit more for questions, but if anyone wants more detail about it, I'll be happy to answer about that.
Amazing, amazing. I love all the examples you gave, from not only highlighting the work of your team members, but also like how it works on the back end, how your how your PhotoShelter workflow comes together. Very cool to see. Yeah, keep that up for a moment, and then I'll take it back to my slides in just a minute. But I would love to give people the opportunity to go check out the other photographers. So this is a good idea to keep this up for a second. Now, I wanted to thank you again, but I do want to open it up for questions. If people have questions that are watching live, you can ask it via our Slack channel or in the questions box on GoToWebinar. But in the meantime, while everyone's coming up with some questions to ask you, we do have some questions prepared ahead of time that some of our team are curious about and some people submitted. So I was curious, Will, you spoke about your past career experience at the beginning of this with the Rams and with some sports centers in the LA area and such. I'm curious. I love hearing people's origin stories, especially photographers, because I'm a photographer myself. So I'm curious, how did you get into photography in general? Like, how did that begin?
Uh, well, I started off with a video background back in high school, learning from the whole school mini DV tapes, uh, um, P2 cards, for a while, helping an amazing team of filmmakers and their content. I was a gearhead. I was the one behind the scenes getting the equipment ready, and had a heavy background on video. But at one point, a good mentor of mine, best friend to this day, his name is Marco Torres. He's a photographer and educator. He was a heavy photographer, avid photographer, traveled the world, doing teaching his curriculum. And so I saw his work on his Flickr account over the years. And for me, it was, wow, that's like a beautiful, beautiful shot. How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that? And I myself, I was traveling the world itself in the Navy, and I picked up the camera and I challenged myself, like, okay, how do you do that? I'd never be like, hey, let me call him and ask how he did. I mean, more like, figure it out. And I think that was a challenge. And from that moment on, when I exited the military, um, that I took a year to kind of readjust into the civilian world, took it upon myself and with help of my friends to go to college and learn photography at Brooks. And from then on, it kind of just took off, and photography became my primary direction. Whereas having a little bit of experience still in the video side whenever my friends need help.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I just kind of took it upon where I loved it and I saw the passion in it. I mean, I had all the posters too hanging up on my wall of Kobe and all the NBA players I loved growing up. So at the same time, having a poster of Kobe shot by Andy Bernstein and now having an opportunity to work for him was one of those things where, like, did that just happen? So it definitely gave me an opportunity to challenge myself with every person I met in the network that I came across.
Yeah. How amazing is it that you had sports posters of Kobe up on your walls and then look at your portraits of Kobe? That's just amazing.
Yeah, it makes you give you a kind of a full circle vibe, but at the same time, I mean, as any photographer or professional knows that you can meet your heroes and be a fanboy, but when you take into a professional matter, your fanboy goes away within a second. You want to
Yeah.
come across as a professional, and and, and just having that mama mentality that Kobe taught me is that you gotta take it seriously, but there's always a time later where you can kind of be like, I remember this game. I remember that moment. I
Mhm.
did have that moment when I told Kobe, hey, this is where I was when I watched the 81-point game, and he laughed. So I was in the middle of the ocean in the Gulf, just kind of like watching the game at 2 in the morning,
Yeah.
and he was like, wow, okay, you were up that late, okay. So,
That's amazing. I'm glad you had that experience with him. That's so cool. Um, I wanted to ask about, oh, you're going to go back to it? I love that.
yeah, I
Um,
was right. There we go.
yeah, amazing. Amazing that you got to do that, especially after being such a fan. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to ask, you said you were a gearhead, so I did want to ask about that. Like, what's your typical gear setup? Like, maybe like what's your go-to camera brand or any kind of that information? I know people are, nerds about camera gear. So like, what's your go-to gear? Tell us about some of that.
I'm a Canon guy. I did start off with Nikon in college, but I switched over to Canon right after that. I'm running off of 1DX Mark IIIs and a pair of R3s. My go-to lenses on match days are a 400, 100 to 400. It's a very sharp lens. I like it. And a 24-105 for the close-ups. But I did tend to change up during the matches with fisheye for the team huddle shots, for the large studio fisheye shots, or 7200 during when they're doing warm-ups, so I'm a little bit closer. So I kind of changed within those kind of lenses. So I'm a big fan of the 11-24s and the 35 primes. So
Cool. I know people love to hear about that type of stuff.
yeah, and
Um,
then rivals. It's always fun too with the arrivals of the players. We're able to experiment with strobes, gels on strobes, as you saw within the birdie shots. It's
yeah.
just really fun to be able to bring in that the experience with lighting and just kind of have fun with it. I mean, it's uh, right here. It's just put up a gel background, line them up different styles every game, and
Yeah.
Angel City gives me such a great opportunity to get creative every week and give me the latitude to get great content with the help of my teammates. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like they really let you get creative. Like if you're doing like model shots, product, merch shots, game day shots, like seems like you're doing it all. So very
Yeah,
cool.
and I know somebody here in the Slack is asking about keywording. I mean, keywording is a
Yes.
huge factor with PhotoShelter. I mean, the luxury is I'm able to teach my photographers how to use code replacement to their advantage using Photo Mechanic, whereas I provide them headshots or what the website's available to them with the headshots of all the players. A majority of great about my teammates is that they actually memorize all the players. 11 players plus the bench, 20 some odd players. They took it upon themselves to learn the team so quickly that when they go to PhotoShelter with the keywords, with the code replacement, it's like period 2-3 Christian Press, period point two Cindy LaRue. So for them to be able to just go through their content and keyword within just a fast pace helped progress the workflow to the point where just after the 48 hours after the match, all the players already have their content in their hands via Greenfly. And I think that's where um, they educated themselves using photo mechanic and how to use code replacement became such an advantage to the team. So that's what I give. That's why a big shout out to them for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. We can take another question from this live chat too. What's been the most challenging part about being the lead photographer at a brand new club?
I learned this on early on with my colleague and my best friend Jeff. Every season after a year with the Rams, I took it upon myself to be like, "Hey Jeff, you saw the content throughout the season. Where can I improve? What can I get better at doing for next season?" And I think as a lead from this perspective of with Angel City coming off my first year, I automatically know like, oh, maybe let me get better, get a little more feedback. Let me make sure my team has the assets they need to get the job done. It's more of it's not about me. It's making sure to ask questions of what my team needs. Well, how are they doing? It's not me checking on by myself now. It's more on what do they need? What do they need help with? How can I make my team accomplish their goals, their mission for the match? What do they need? That's the thing where, as a leader, I think that's where it's a huge factor for me to now make sure my team is taken care of.
Hmm. I love that. Your workflow is up here, so I do want to ask, if is there any tools or programs other than PhotoShelter and I guess Lightroom here that are like a must-have in your workflow? Like what tools are super important for you? And not necessarily, you could speak about game day, you could speak about Angel City, but like generally, like what tools and programs do you really use a lot and like love?
I mean, I spoke recently. Photo Mechanic. Photo Mechanic is probably I use Photo Mechanic maybe 90% of my workflow for any project. It's just an advanced, super powered program that helps with the editing process or selecting process, adding metadata, even uploading via FTP. It has the fundamentals of all the necessities for a sports photographer or any photographer to get content to their clients. So I would
Yeah.
definitely recommend Phone Mechanic. Learn. There's a trial version you can download, so you check it out, test it out a little bit, and there's great big forums of photographers that can help you out with any questions on that. But I would definitely recommend learning that platform. It definitely
Yeah.
helps. And I recommend it to all my photographers that come help us.
Yeah, we have a ton of creatives and photographers that work with using PhotoShelter, and they rave about Photo Mechanic too as like a nice keywording and processing kind of tool, selection, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, PhotoShelter did an amazing job to connect with Phone Mechanic and making sure that whenever I need to upload any content to FTP, there's already a setup right there in the drop down option for PhotoShelter to upload content.
Yeah,
So I'm allowed to see the galleries within Photo Mechanic and designate where my content goes and flows. So that's what I love about it.
amazing. You mentioned Greenfly as well. Can you speak about a bit about your process and how your Angel City uses Greenfly as well?
Yes. So within a Greenfly has the same kind of structure as PhotoShelter, where I create galleries. But in the Greenfly aspect, I make individual galleries of each player. I make galleries of the matches and all the on the trainings. So when I upload all the content to PhotoShelter within those 48 hours, since all the images are keyworded, Greenfly now goes on their side and picks all the photos that were just uploaded, and they will look for all the keywords of all the players' names, and it will sort it automatically for me into their respective folders. So once all the photos are uploaded, I could just hit a button and notify not only just the players, but also the coaching staff, the tech staff, like the trainers, the physical therapists, the equipment managers, the goalkeeper coach. I mean, they got to get the love too because they're part of the team. So they all have designated galleries. So when everything's uploaded, I hit a button, boom, they get a notification on their phones. Hey, the photos from the last match are uploaded. Take a look. And then within minutes, I can automatically get emails notifying that the players are already viewing the content, downloading the content, which is great to see. And then maybe within the next hour or two, it's already posted on their Instagram.
Yeah.
And most importantly for them is post match when they're interacting with their friend players from other teams. Their families here to visit them. They have moments with their families take photos of. So I mean, those are very important images that get to the players within seconds. And so I think that's where the integration of Greenfly into PhotoShelter did an amazing job for us to get going.
Yeah, I mean it's an awesome opportunity to have the players able to just grab images right away, right? Do you see a lot of the players sharing photos right from Greenfly on their social?
All the time. And then the Greenfly makes it so capable for us to be able to see that they just pull the image from Greenfly and they post it straight into their Instagram or their Facebook right from the app. So
Yeah.
it allows us to know not necessarily just to know that download, but in the purpose of analytics, it tells us what's beneficial to the players. Same as with Photo Shelter, it lets me know whenever a staff member downloads photos from a community event, what kind of community event are they more high traffic are they getting from? Are they from Footy Fridays, which is a kid event for playing soccer, to a volunteer? We're making food baskets for families. So it allows me to know where the traffic is going, and that's where all the analytics come from. So.
Awesome. You spoke a bit about this, but how much do the fans and the local LA community mean to Angel City and the content you create. Can you speak a bit about like your fan base and the community?
Our home opener consisted of 22,000 sold out crowd, and throughout the match, we hear the fans cheering with their chants and songs every single second, even during halftime. And then towards the end of the match, seeing the players interact with them, not necessarily just with happiness, but with tears. The fans showed the team, the players, how much we love them, how much LA welcomed them to LA. I mean, it was such an emotional period where at one point I had to take a moment to just kind of pause and reflect that, wow, it's like the turnout was so amazing. The team did an amazing job bringing this all together. The marketing to PR, the founders, investors, everybody. I mean, we had the whole crew there, everybody there just to witness history in the making. And I think LA definitely appreciates all the sports teams, and I think that's where you bring in a new team, we're gonna love you no matter what. And I think that was what it showed the first game, and to this from first match to the last home game this last season, we had packed houses, and fans, the children, the families. It was just great to see all the outcomes from and love and support that the fans gave out. And I think to us, we're their number one fan, because we wouldn't be there without any fans, supporters.
Yeah. So how do you engage with the fans and the community that that you support and that you work with or uh, entertain, etc. During the off season when you're not playing? How does your team kind of engage with the fans, keep up with them?
Oh, we have a whole lineup of volunteer events to player exhibition, player meet and greets, where they come out to events with kids. We go to community centers to help pack lunches and food for families. Uh, there's so many events that even though it's off season, it's still a full workload of events going on. And I think that's where our organization does a great thing, and making sure that we're so involved within the community, not necessarily just from where we play in LA, not necessarily just East LA to the Valley to even Costa Mesa to Anaheim, anywhere. We're LA. LA's so huge, we'll go anywhere, and I think that's where they've done such a great job to make sure that every community within LA is part organization. And so I think we'll reach out, we'll go, and it's been great so far. We
Yeah,
make sure we stay pretty busy through now season.
that's awesome. Joe shared a great question just now that I'm curious about too. Can you break down how you delegate coverage on match day with your photo team?
Yes. So in our lineup for match day, we have about 4 to 5 shooters on a day. Myself and number one will be shooting game action. She'll be the opposite of me, getting from perspective from the bench on, and she'll be seen from her opposite side to the bench to get reactions of the coaches and the players. We have one photographer roaming. We call her the rover. She'll be roving around the stadium, getting content of fan perspectives, partnerships, sponsors, or just over any content we might need. If we have an influencer in town, we want to make sure we get a photo of them for their use. So we have that person as a rover. We have one person who's a positional photographer, getting make sure all the partnership content, the sponsors and such, or everything from the video boards to the LEDs. We want to make sure that our sponsors, our partners are taken care of. Make sure, hey, look, you're taking care of your sponsors there. Fans are seeing it. It's a great engagement. Boom, it's out there. We'll make sure they're taken care of. And then an additional photographer, just in case we need Didi, our goalkeeper, had an amazing season this year. So we want to make sure we got great content of her on her defense. So I assigned one photographer to cover the defensive end on that side. So we have the luxury of being able to rotate our photographers' positions. So one day they might be shooting action. The next day they'll be doing partners. The next game they'll be doing the rover. So I want to give everybody the opportunity to make sure they get an experience of a rover, a positional, an action, and a partners. At the same time, teaching new editors how to get the experience of how to edit on site or from remote. So it's an all hands perspective of making sure everyone gets an opportunity to shoot every perspective so they get the experience of it.
Very cool. Very cool. So Jeff asks, if they're assigned completely different slash specialized content, are they transmitting all to the same location or different locations?
During a match day, we designate to go into one folder, so there's no confusion. Majority of times, on a match day, there's only about 2 to 3 people transmitting, so it wouldn't be a very heavy base of random content. We usually designate the action content to be priority, and then any additional from fan engagements, because obviously when we see the celebrations, we include a celebration of a player, but then a celebration of the fans, because when we get that pink smoke up and running, it's pretty fun to get action shots of that. So
Mhm.
it's a 2 to 3 photographer download process, but not everybody needs to be transmitting.
Cool. Cool. Yoav had a good question. With so many celebrity owners, do you include them in the Greenfly workflow or general workflow? Like, how do you give them access to stuff like that, or what?
Um, Usually for that kind of content, we create different galleries for them, and
Yeah.
then from myself, I'll create a gallery, distribute the content to them, and then my boss head of content will distribute that to them. Usually, if they do want access to a Greenfly account, then that will of course be available to them, but it really comes down to who wants and when they want. So they usually taking cover above my pay grade. So but the content's ready to go for them when they need it, when they request it. Now it's just wherever it gets streamed over to them, that it goes to them.
Yeah, understood. In a similar vein, how do you leverage your influencer owners and that community? How often do you engage with them, or how does that affect your content?
We've had amazing influencers come on this season. A lot of influencers come on to do what we call our 3 clap. Right pregame, we have which was created by one of our founders and president Julie Ehrman. We do our 3 clap right pregame, and we have one of our influencers or founder or investors go out to the Capo stand of Bank California, do a big announcement to the crowd, and everyone does it together. So a lot of influencers, a lot of people like love doing that because they get to be right on center stage and get all the supporters in the supporting stand section going with the chants. So they really get the hype going, and that's right at the pregame, and everyone loves it. And majority of times, a lot of influencers, we had a recent comedian come down, and he was walking down the field far away, talking to fans, engaging with them, asking them questions. So we try to heavily engage our influencers into the workflow as well, as far as maybe our Instagram stories or TikTok story. So it's pretty fun to kind of get them going with another content. Because we want all of them to be engaged with it. We want them to be part of it, and it's pretty fun. And a lot of
Yeah,
fans love it because they like to see some of their favorite people here in LA to come visit, and they tend to be one with them. You know, they're it's
right.
not a celebrity fan; it's more of it's a fan.
Yeah. Can you speak a bit about, I'm sure you have social media folks, but can you speak a bit about that workflow? Like once your team takes photos, makes photos, what goes on social? Is there a specific decision being made about, the types of photos that go out there, or, like, do you like focusing more on exciting celebration shots, or, a mix of things, or can you speak about that a bit?
As a photographer, we tend to try to look at every perspective from what can our team use. So from a creative standpoint, you see the images here in the game action. If it's a nice sunset shot, maybe this could be used for a creative like shots of the day, shots of the match, for a post-match gallery. But in most cases, it's really making sure you give the marketing team and the graphics team a variety. I mean, you want emotion, you want action, you want engagement, you want any perspective that you use, it's usable. It's usable. I mean, the love beauty about photography here from this angle, we have a child with a sign. We have teacher in the classroom, a community event. A fan drinking a Gatorade from a Gatorade cup, bringing in a sponsor. We have a fan on the Klarna pink carpet. We're decorating a firefighter, recognizing a firefighter during the match. Our street teams on the Malibu. So we give them so much variety that it's great that on a match day we see fans with signs, we see fans with nice tattoos on their faces, pink hair, everyone wearing their wearing their jerseys or their scarves. I mean, every perspective, every angle we can get as a photographer, we capture it, and I think that's where it makes it so easy for us because we see all the fans out there. We're like, wow, it's like a smorgasbord. We get so much stuff we can content, we can shoot, and I don't ever at one point ever feel overwhelmed. It's just great that I can see different angles and capture so many different things, and it allows you to be so creative and fun with it. It's just it's amazing. you know.
Totally. So with that in mind, I mean, it's probably hard to choose, but is there like a moment that you captured and shared this season that kind of stands out to you from this inaugural season?
Yeah, I think it would have to come down to our first game. I mean, it was it, it was my first official NWSL match at Bank California, and I think it was within the 3-minute mark of the match of the first game at home. Vanessa, from a pass assist from Junendo, scores our first goal in history. And I think for me was I was right at the position looking at like, don't drop the camera, just hold the shutter button as long as possible. And I think this sequence lasted at least a good minute. And I had probably a good couple hundred shots of just that sequence because this
Yeah.
is a memorable first goal of the inaugural year. You'll never get that shot again. We'll get the second goal, we'll get the third goal, but this is the first goal of the season opener. So I think to me, this will be more memorable because to have the just seeing this photo of all the emotions of the players just hits you again like you were just reliving it. I'll go back and watch the YouTube video and be like realize how fast it happened. But for me, it happened so slow because I was looking at through the viewfinder, capturing every single player coming into the shot. From Junendo first to Danny to Carrie to Kristen Press to Savannah and then to Vanessa raising her hand with that fist. To me, that was like, boom, I got it. You know,
Yeah.
that was a great moment for our team, for the organization, for the fans, just over for the city, just to witness that. It was memorable to me.
Amazing. Is it in the same vein, but like total opposite? Are there any moments where you're like, I totally missed that, like I wish I got that? What are those like for you?
Oh yeah, there's always gonna be there. I mean, there's so many shots I still miss from NFL games, from NBA games. I mean, especially from this season, I had a beautiful setup of a camera remote behind the net, and it was a great diving save from Didi on the far right of the goal with the sunset flare hitting the far left of the camera. But then when I looked into the post, I don't know what happened, but it was maybe about a good soft focus on it that it wasn't usable. So I was
Mm.
like, oh, what happened? I was like, I put the gaffer's tape to lock on the signal, but I guess something must have moved or I must have focused it wrong, or maybe I need to go for an eye checkup. I don't know. But it was one of those things like I missed it, but I would have had it. So,
Yeah. I love that. That's funny. Before we get into the last one or two questions, I want to give everyone watching an opportunity to ask, another question or two. But I'm gonna bring back my slides here just for a moment. And if anyone's watching and they're not using PhotoShelter, we do want to give an opportunity to kind of connect with our team and learn how to do this yourself with your own creative team. We're here to help. We help creative people thrive. That's what we like to say around here, and it's the truth. So if you want an opportunity to connect with our team and learn how to make it happen on your own, you could use this QR code and contact us in that way. I do want to ask one or two more questions before we wrap up. One that I had in mind, which would be interesting to hear, is moving forward, what's next for this team? So what's next for Angel City? What's next for your photo team? What's anything exciting like in the works, or what's coming up?
growth. I mean, it's not necessarily we just finished our first year, but we're looking to keep getting bigger. I mean, our goal is always to overtake the next branded team. With love. I mean, our fans are going to keep expanding every year, and I think that's where we're going to get out there more community events. We're going to get out there to do more soccer events, community events, food events, fan engagements, player engagements. Just we got to get out there, and I think their team's doing an amazing job to make sure that we do that because we don't want this wasn't hype. This is going to be long of a this is going to be like long of a hype that no one's gonna think of it as a hype because it's gonna
Right.
continue on to next season to year 3, year 4, year 5. It's just exciting. I mean, I'm already looking forward to the schedule coming out for next season, and the season's not even over yet, the playoffs. So I mean, I'm already looking forward to it. So it's I'm very excited. And I think our team's gonna do an amazing job just getting out there and make sure that we're staying engaged within the community.
That's awesome. And you're in for the long haul, not just temporary hype, huh?
Oh no, long haul.
That's awesome. Let's see. Tyler has a question here. He works for a professional soccer club that doesn't have a team photographer position. How would you argue for creating a full-time team photographer position, or how do you get in there? How do you get in, get your foot in the door, that type of thing?
It's a good question. I'm coming off of 11 years as a freelancer. So, being associated with other major clubs like the Rams, the Lakers, LAFC, and such, you always try to with the perspective of, can I be their full timer? Um, with every different organization, there's different needs. So I can't speak to another organization besides Angel City,
Right.
but the perspective of a full-time photographer and a freelance photographer does have its different perspectives, but to bring in the need is just to showcase your talent. Showcase your talent, show them why you're needed. Show them why they need you full time. Show them why they're not necessarily just full time, but also why they also need you freelance
Mhm.
continuously. It's more about, it's not about a title. I think it's more about showing that the content is being created, the work is being developed, and your creative outlet is going to be there no matter what. Um, just show them the passion you have for your work, and I think that would instill within the organization. And I think for me, I speak high values of Angel City, that our whole creative content team, from the video, social, we're such a great, amazing one unit that our first year I felt was seamless, and I think we're already looking forward to how we're going to extend our content for the next season. And I'm not speaking to just as one photographer that's full time. I mean, I
Mhm.
consider all my other photographers, Jen, Emma, Bailey, Heidi, Kelly, and Hannah. I mean, yes, there are freelancers throughout the season, but guess what? I always consider them part of the team. So they might not have the title of full time, but to me, they're included in everything in the process of a match day. They're included
I
in
love
the process
that.
of community events. So I think
I love.
that's where it's 100%. You got to give full 100% passion into the work.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love that it's a group of awesome women photographers. That's cool too.
Yeah, I mean, I
Very
had
cool.
the good opportunity to work with a lot of them over the years. Hannah and Hannah with the Rams, Kelly with the Staples Center. I met Jen over the beginning of the season with Angel City, and I loved her work and brought her on board. Heidi, I met her at Cal State Northridge coming straight out of college. Bailey, she was working over the Galaxy. So I mean, there's different perspectives of different areas that I think all in one we make a great, amazing team. So I think of course, there's always room to expand the team. So I mean, it just shows me that if somebody else is going to come in and join our team, they gotta have one thing that I always see is they gotta have passion. Maybe a second, they gotta be hungry. They gotta be hungry to learn a workflow, learn a path on how to succeed as one. Not necessarily just succeed just within your own portfolio.
Yeah. In the same vein, I do want to ask one last question, which I think would be awesome to hear from you. Is do you have any advice for aspiring sports photographers, or I guess in a similar way, do you have a piece of advice that you would go back and share with your younger self? What kind of advice would you want to share with other sports photographers or photographers looking to get into it?
Uh, that's a good question. I think it'd be the same thing I still tell myself to this day. Um, get out there and shoot. Get out there and shoot. You might say, well, how can I get into a college without a credential? I'm like, well, you know what? There's always some different outlets to be able to shoot. Community colleges, high schools, little leagues. How do I get experience in the studio? Find a photographer that was willing to take on an assistant. Assistant work is an amazing opportunity and experience. I'm very heavy on. I still assist to this day. I mean, if a colleague of mine needs help for a big project, he needs an assistant. Where and what time? I'm there. I
Mhm.
mean, remove your ego away from the equation. Get out there and shoot studio, shoot community, shoot corporate headshots, shoot um weddings, shoot quinceañera, shoot. I mean, anything that's giving you experience
Yeah,
on the perspective of learning your lighting, learning your flash, learning your cameras, learning your ins and outs of your cameras is more important. That's where I think I tell people. I would have told myself when I was younger, go out and shoot, practice, practice, practice.
I love that. That's a great advice. Yeah, I mean, what can you do other than go out there and keep creating until you're getting better and
Hmm.
better all the time. So I love that.
I mean, you can have an off day for sure. I mean, I take a break every now and then, sit down in my editing room and enjoy the editing some of the content I've previously done. But I'm really looking to go shoot Cal State Northridge this weekend. I have an event tomorrow. So I mean, I'm looking to just fill those days with anything I get my camera in my hands. It's a great opportunity to learn and get experience in.
Amazing. Well, Will, this has been so special. Thank you so much. We're right at the hour. But before we sign off, is there anything else you want to share with the audience or anyone who, decides to watch this after the fact?
Oh, I mean, first off, to you and Larissa, thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to speak. I mean, I was walking into this very nervous because it's the first time kind of doing something virtually in this manner. Whereas in
Yeah,
your live, you can mess up many times, but it's like, but I really want to thank you both for the opportunity to speak, just share Angel City story, to be able to show the work of the amazing team we put together. But to all the photographers out there, I mean, just drive your passion to what you want to pursue in your goal with your photography and just go at it. I mean, network is your friend. Make friends out along the way, make teammates, and build your team. And then eventually, you'll find a dream job. And I think in my time, I found mine. So therefore, good luck and get at it.
amazing. Will, thank you so much. This has been super special. I know the Slack community has enjoyed it. If you're in there and you want to speak to Will, he's also in there, so you can network in that way as well. I just want to thank you one more time. It's been really cool to learn about Angel City and that photography workflow. So for those who are watching live, stay tuned. We'll have the recording out available soon. For those who are watching after the fact and watching the recording, thanks for tuning in and watching. So that's it for now. Stay tuned for the next one. Thank you again, Will.
Thank you. Take care.